Hey, everybody, welcome back into the House of L. I'm Derek.
And I'm Graham.
Oh, Graham. Great.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, we are going to age ourselves terribly.
No.
You and I have not properly podcasted together since Heroes was on television on NBC 20 years ago.
If you don't count our podcast from a year or two ago where we thought Heroes might be coming back.
True. Still 10th Wonder, though.
Yeah, still 10th Wonder.
Well, that's true. We did do the Eclipse when it came back. So
and Heroes Reborn about 10 years ago. But if you ignore that, it's been 20 years.
It's been 20 years since we've covered a show proper together. And you and I are going to be talking Lanterns throughout the season for 8 episodes. I'm so excited to dive into this with you. I have been really looking forward to this series since it was announced. I really enjoy the characters of Green Lantern, but I'm not the Superman fan of Green Lantern at all. I'm always learning more. In fact, I was diving through. I've got one of the original. I had it sitting here to hold up, and now I've moved it somewhere. But my original Alan Scott Volume 1 with all the original issues.
Amazing.
And so I've been reading back through, but really the last time I dove in, I feel like, to anything Green Lantern was 2014 when Brian Q. Miller did a installment of Smallville Season 11 where Clark becomes a Green Lantern. And I really got into the history of it then, and it's probably the first time I dove in because I left the Ryan Reynolds movie with a bad taste, as most people did.
I think you're not the only one there. Yeah,
I don't think he'll be showing up in this series at all.
Has he spoken about that since? Because he's had such success after the fact.
It's became, what was it, Deadpool 2, where the end credit scene is Ryan's reading the Green Lantern script and Deadpool comes in and shoots him in the head before he can take the part.
So he got his last laugh.
Yeah. He's had plenty of bits about it. I think James Gunn and him have riffed each other pretty well about him coming into this. Far different experience this time around. If your familiarity is the Ryan Reynolds movie from several years ago, this is a way more grounded take on these characters. No pun intended. This is probably the heaviest stuff we've gotten into in the DCU. We've only had a few outings now. Creature Commandos, Peacemaker, I guess, is heavy, obviously, but far more played for comedy than Lanterns is, and of course Superman and Supergirl. So now with this, we're opening our world a little bit more to what else is out there in the stars. And it sounds like a lot. Obviously, you've got space police that are responsible for all these space cops, true space detectives, as I call it, as patrolling. Then there's a lot going on in the galaxy, but this particular story is going to hit close to home for Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart are two protagonists played by Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre, who I feel like we could just spend an hour talking about their chemistry.
Right. I feel like this show works so well just because the two of them and their dynamic, that sort of like buddy cop thing, but also the teacher and the student, that kind of stuff. It was super fun in this first episode to just establish that, and now it's like I was in within minutes after that first scene. And what a way to start with, bailing on him in the car and, and all that stuff.
Well, and they almost drop you in this, the same, I enjoyed this backup story, kind of, so to speak, the same way James Gunn dropped us into Superman with, 30 years ago, we found out this, and, the threes, as I call them, and then, 3 years ago and 30 minutes ago. So we launch into, we knew going into this, they said that this would be kind of a whodunit, a murder mystery, police case taking place over 2 timelines. But I got so engrossed in 2016 that I forgot. We get to the end of the episode, and of course we'll get there when we get there, but we get to the end of the episode jumping ahead to 2026 present day, and I just forgot all along that we were in 2016.
I know we get there and there's those scenes right up front when we jump to 2016 from 2006, right? And then it is
1996.
Oh, 96.
And then we meet the hologram
The
of
hologram, yeah.
2006, and then we're in 2016, and then 2026.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So there's the initial larger jump, then the hologram mentioning from 10 years prior to
Right.
20. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it seems it's so engrossing, the 2016 scenes, that I almost felt like, oh, we're in present day. But then you're reminded at the end of the episode that no, you weren't. You were actually 10 years behind where you thought you were. But yeah, it's to me, I think I'm liking the time jumpy aspects of it, because it's kind of keeping me grounded in the story. I think doesn't most of the series take place in 2016? We've jumped forward at the end of this episode, but we're not staying there probably.
You know, I don't want to give spoilers for what we've seen ahead of, but it is predominantly we're gonna carry through this 2016 storyline with.
So we'll keep jumping back and forth.
My theory is, and I don't want to go to the True Detective well too much. I really loved that show, and you know, it was kind of part of the log line early on that it was going to take some beats from that. Chris Mundy, who is the showrunner on this, was also the showrunner on Ozark, and just has some of those similar vibes, that those gritty, true to life, kind of slice of life almost, stories of areas almost. And with so much of this taking place in Nebraska, I believe you were at a press conference Thursday for the show, and I believe Chris said he was from Nebraska.
Yeah, I believe there. Yeah, he did mention that he was from there. So if it feels like very authentic, the portrayal of this town, then that is why.
Well, and one thing I loved, and I really can't remember if it was him. I guess it was him, because I think he was still talking about Nebraska. I don't remember if it was him or Damon Lindelof, who's also co-executive producer on the show, along with DC writer Tom King. They were talking about how their grandmother, whoever, I'm just gonna say it was Chris, because I'm pretty sure it was Chris. You were there, I wasn't. I watched online.
I was there, so I didn't absorb all the information, because there they are all in front of me, and so I do need to reread the transcript.
But Chris was talking about how his grandmother, you know, came from this town of like 30 people and rode a horse to school, and how that was almost like an alien world.
Yeah.
To him, to hear stories like that versus, you know, where we are today. So it's kind of, they're kind of, while we are mostly on Earth, yes, and I think that is to the chagrin of a lot of maybe Green Lantern fans and DC fans have been like, oh, we've got a Green Lantern show, but it's taking place in the Heartland. Like, why is that? But it is going to tie into these characters, to the Green Lantern Corps. I think the setting is very important. And we learn aspects of why as this episode goes on. But we do start off in 1996, meeting both Hal and John at very different points of their life. Hal is established as a Green Lantern, wearing the uniform. I really loved his dissection of why he didn't wear it anymore when we do jump to 2016, talking about it's like a tie, like you want to.
It's like it draws too much attention. I feel like I'm trying too hard, that kind of stuff. But it is I really like the fact that a lot of the sort of superhero aspects, at least after this in 2016, where he's a little bit more weathered and has been doing this job for a while, where he is sort of less about even though he's taking pictures with fans and stuff, people that recognize him, he's less about the like showing off the ring and the suit and being in the suit. And well,
it's a very Hal Jordan thing to use the ring for ridiculous.
Right.
So like I think about how many times the counterfeit money for the jukebox,
I love that,
the beer bottle opener, you know, stuff like that. That is quintessential Hal Jordan stuff. And I think Kyle Chandler, I think he's one of the finest television actors we have. If you're a fan of Early Edition from a long time ago, which I loved, Friday Night Lights, of course, I think is what most everybody knows him from. I just a few weeks ago watched the movie, and the name escapes me, that he just did with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon on Netflix, where they're all cops, and he was fantastic. He's fantastic in everything he does, and this is no different. But just it's almost watching him. We get to watch him in '96 with the 60 Minutes interview at the beginning. We get to see him in
like
2000.
Full superhero mode.
Yeah. He's revealed himself to the world. Hal Jordan, test pilot. One thing I love too, the episode, a lot of streaming shows like this, and I know, of course, this is also airing on HBO, which is huge. I think that shows how much belief they have in this series, that it's getting that prestige TV 9 p.m. Sunday night time slot on HBO, like Sopranos and so
leading
many
off
shows
right
before
after
it.
the House of Dragons finale.
Right,
So this is like
right.
picking up that slot, basically.
Right. Following through Game of Thrones. But the episode is called Pilot, and a lot of these shows, the episodes are not called Pilot. So I was like, oh, he's a pilot.
He is a
I
pilot,
get it.
yeah.
It's a little
cheeky.
joke. I like it. It's not your normal sitcom pilot. It's pilot. You see him in 96. You see him in 06. He's a little bit more erratic, I guess you would say, in the quote unquote hologram. I love hologram. I'm just going to keep calling him hologram. And
I didn't pick that up the first time. I was like, what did he say? And then I'm like, oh, hologram. I get it.
That's cute. I think he even tells him that's cute. Tells John that. But it's almost, when we do catch up with him in 2016, it almost is like that Danny Glover, Lethal Weapon, grizzled.
Oh, 100%.
I'm too old for this shit. Grizzled cop. Like,
yeah.
It's funny to be a space cop and have that, still have that, that mentality, I guess, to show him that way. But he's obviously in a very different place 20 years later than he was in 96. And even I want to learn more about how, we know how he got the ring. We hear the story.
He tells it in the bar.
He tells him this, and it's
Rushville,
pretty true to.
It happened in Rushville. It happened 20 minutes outside of Rushville, basically, is what he said.
And it's pretty true to form on what happens with Hal in the comics and everything, of how he was chosen. Are you afraid? All that.
Mm-hmm.
And but we do find out that he's been a Lantern in 90. So many numbers. He's been a Lantern in 96 for 10 years. So since 86, 40 years now. He's been doing this when we catch up to 2026. Don't know if that's when he got the start, in 86 or not, but for at least 10 years, he's been Earth's only Green Lantern. I don't know what that's going to mean for original Green Lantern Alan Scott. His history is a little bit different. He wasn't a member of the Green Lantern Corps, so I don't know if we're going to actually get into that. I kind of wondered, honestly, I know I'm speaking gibberish to you now when I say some of these words, but and I'm excited to teach and learn with you as we go, because some of this
I was gonna, not to sidetrack me, but I was gonna say, like, my background of Green Lantern is much thinner than yours, but I am excited about it because I am familiar with the character and with some of the more current media around it. I have not dived in, or have not gotten a deep dive into the comics as much, and that's something I want. So at the end of every episode, I'm going to ask you and our audience, like, give me Green Lantern stuff to catch up on. I want to catch up on most of it. I've done a little bit of catching up myself, so I can be fluent in some of this stuff in covering this show. And actually, it's gotten me way more excited for the show. Doing a little bit of this digging, because I'm noticing already that there's some things that this show is doing that they haven't historically done with this character in the past. And so it's exciting me from that aspect as well. But yes, there are a couple of character names that you might throw at me that I'll be like, and not really know who you're talking about.
But as far as Alan Scott goes, he is the original DC Green Lantern. And I don't know if they'll ever address that or not. I was talking about the Smallville Lantern storyline, and they briefly address Alan Scott in that one, and they're kind of like, we don't know how that worked, and that was it. Then we move on.
That might be what they do with this.
Honestly, don't know how that loophole worked, and then we move on.
The other thing is, like, we know that there is another Green Lantern in this universe, in the DCU, and his name is Guy Gardner, and he's been already in a DCU movie, and so we're going to see him at some point, we assume, but that doesn't tick with what Hal is saying, and like, I'm the only Green Lantern. This is my job.
Yeah, and obviously,
so we're wondering how that's going to work.
That media, the way they've introduced Guy being kind of like a corporate Green Lantern almost work. He's being funded by the Lord Tech. So I wonder how that is going to feature into the series when he does come into it. So I'm excited to see him. Obviously, he was also in Peacemaker as a guy, and then as you mentioned, Superman. So I'm excited for him to show up and learn more about why he has the ring, because as we learned from John Stewart, now the Lanterns are training, cadets in case something were to happen to the main Lantern, which is why John is shadowing
He's a sidekick.
Hal, yeah, very Training Day, very True Detective. There's elements there that you could. I mean, there's cop movie. I mean, Midnight Run. There's so many things you could pull from. That again, I don't want to go to the True Detective well too much, but I think it's just because it. I think it's the HBO of it all. It's the unsureness of these partners that. Do they trust each other? Do they not trust each other? Do they like each other? Do they not like it? You know, it's those questions that have to get answered along the way, and it. You know, you'll ultimately see, I'm sure, while they may not like each other, they respect each other, and they're going to end up working together to solve this case, which starts out as a mass shooting at a football game there in Rushville. I'm really confused on one thing, and I know you watched the episode a couple times too. When the hologram does show up, we get the hell is falling.
There's hail in Nebraska.
There's hail in Nebraska, yeah. And John even says, I think hell means aliens. Hell, they even sound alike. You know, that kind of thing. I don't know why all of a sudden he was activated when the shooting happened. He sent a backup message to himself from 10 years ago.
Right.
I'm really curious on, and if we get more backstory onto why that got, you know, when John was walking with the ring, why all of a sudden that got activated.
In my guesstimation, because this is a total guess, and this is kind of what I do on podcasts, is that the aliens showing up in Rushville are that they're looking for him. If I have to guess, because they know that's where he landed, or when the person that gave him the ring, they go over a little bit of that in the bar. He's like, he wished me good luck. I thought, but he might have said, "Oh fuck," you know.
Yeah, couldn't hear him too well.
Couldn't hear him too well, but that's 20 minutes outside of Rushville is where that happened. So maybe these folks are starting there.
I don't know. I don't know if something
he set
triggered
a tripwire basically of like,
something triggered it because
show up here. That kind of
the shooting wouldn't have happened at that point. It's been because he says you've been here 7 hours now. When John finally gets to Rushville, I love that he just takes off and leaves him twice, dumps him in the car, gives him the ring.
I had to know if you were going to be able to get here on your own without.
Yeah. Gives him the ring, dives out of the car, drives the Pontiac right off the cliff.
I do love. Let's not gloss over the taco stand scene where he says, "Well, what did you make with the ring?"
Bubble wrap.
Is it bubble wrap? And he's like, "Oh," he seems very disappointed.
Cute. Yeah, that's clever. Cute. Yeah, that works. I both love and hate that we didn't get to see that, but they were talking in that press conference the other day about how small they started with the constructs. You know, the $20 bill, the beer bottle opener, and then by the end of the episode you get a little bit bigger construct, and so apparently every week we're going to get more. It's a little more cosmic. They're really bringing you in with the humanity of these two characters to show you why the alien of it all matters.
I liked that they didn't go too big on the constructs, because obviously it's fun as a DCU follower right now because we've seen what big constructs look like in Superman and how they were comedically used there in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
the oven mitts and the giant baseball bat and all of that stuff. But
forgot about the baseball.
Probably one of the funniest scenes in that movie. But I liked how in this series, we're taking the whole concept of the Green Lantern character a lot more seriously, and it's much more gritty and it's more grounded. But the ring gets used in such very, it's not taken super seriously, and it is, the first time we see it, is it him lighting the cigarette, or is it the
forget if he did something at the taco stand with it or not before he.
I don't think he did. He flew.
Cigarette.
We know he flew.
Yeah, he flew, obviously.
But it's these it's just little things, and it kind of, I think that plays into the ending scene a little bit, or not the very ending scene, but the interrogation scene where when he asks you, like, you've been here 48 hours, do you have a charge left? And it's like, I don't know if we've established in this Green Lantern if the ring discharges over time or through usage.
Or it's through, I got through usage.
And that's what I'm getting too. It's like in certain versions of Green Lantern, it's, you have 24 hours, you have 48 hours, and it runs out. Or you use it enough and
You've
it
used
runs
it too
out.
much,
Or
which
both.
again, Hal is very much I'm going to use it to make a $20 bill. So it's
Exactly, yeah.
So
it's like I kind of loved how in the little bit of studying I've done about the character, I loved how the show is already playing with those concepts of like, well, we're not going to tell you exactly how this works. This alien seems to believe that it's a time-based thing, but Hal is very confident he still has a charge.
Right.
So yeah, I did like that.
Yeah. We meet a bevy of characters in Rushville that are going to continue throughout the series, in addition to Hal and John as our Green Lanterns. Of course, we get Sheriff Carrie, played by Kelly MacDonald.
She is so good.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
Was not expecting her voice at all. I texted you that during the press conference, and then she started talking.
Isn't that the thing, though? Like, great actors and actresses, learn the American accent so well, the regional dialects and everything, and then you hear them speak in an interview and you're like, what?
She's Scottish and very Scottish, not just, that's very thick Scottish
when
accent.
I was rewatching the episode after having heard her real accent, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so good. Now I like respect so much the character so much more because of how much she's nailing this character and accent and everything.
We meet her husband, played by Jason Ritter, Billy, who is an attorney who gets Hal out of his predicament. Hal, of course, picks a fight at the bar. It was a fantastic plan. Counterfeit the money, pull a John Mulaney, run about.
That's what I immediately said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, run about 18 What's New Pussycats through the jukebox until.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard what he said when he walked up to the.
What you got against? What you got?
We got to have against roller skates.
Roller skates. I got a new. I love this.
So good. I love that.
And I also love that John picks up on what he's doing. He's figured out that he's picking a fight, so he can land.
He's way ahead of him because he's like the more analytical, like smarter. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say smarter, but like just he thinks things through and and structurally, and he's way ahead of him on what his plan is, and he's like, it's a dumb plan, and it was a dumb plan.
Yeah.
Because so is Sheriff Carrie. She's not going to put him in the same cell as the guy he wants to talk to. Come on.
She's the one that shows up, so she's hip to what he's doing too. He's already pissed her off by the time John shows up in Rushville.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's had 7 hours to make an enemy out of her.
She hates her guts. Yeah, but
it's
the way she hates them.
It's the way she hates them. But Billy loves Hal. Billy's a big Hal fan, and Billy's dad, played by Garrett Dillahunt, is a big Hal fan as well. I don't know if you have any familiarity with Garrett Dillahunt. I remember him from the Terminator series, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, where he played a Terminator, and he was terrifying. He was one of the best parts of that show. He's done a ton of other stuff, but that was where I first learned his name, and I was so excited when he showed up on the cast list for this. He's got a good rapport with Warner Brothers, and I'm excited to see how he's very meticulous. I'm really excited to see how this character rolls out, because you could see this as a very one-dimensional character in the way that some of the world moves. I had to keep reminding myself, though, watching again, we're in 2016.
Yeah.
So things aren't as heated in the world as they are in 2026, that he's prepared himself. But we also don't live in a world where there's, we know that there's aliens and that there's space cops and Superman and all this other stuff. So
we do know there's aliens, but let's move past that.
Well, okay, but there's another here there. Yeah.
According to some recent events.
Right.
I'm not as familiar. I'm not as familiar with Garrett Dillahunt, but I can tell that there's some just the way he's like playing that character. Mm-hmm. It's like we are being prepared for this guy to be a force of some sort of against our characters. It's like they've met him. He seems nice. He seems to be like we're on the same team, but I get the sense that we're not on the same team.
Yeah. And that's most of who we've met for Rushville. Of course, some other ancillary characters, and also Zoe, who is Bill. We don't know if she's Billy's mom, but she is Billy's dad's wife, played by Porna. I'm not going to even try to pronounce the last name. I don't know.
I heard it pronounced at the press conference, and I have promptly forgotten how to pronounce it.
She's a phenomenal actor. I've learned I've learned in doing this for the last however many years now, if I just pronounce the word like I think it is and don't hesitate, whoever's listening is like, I didn't know that's how they pronounce that.
Right.
Like
it's a confidence thing.
But that's not the case here. I don't want to butcher it. So I'm not even going to try. But Zoe does, obviously, I'm really interested in her and Williams, Garrett Dillahunt's Hunt's character's dynamic.
Same.
Obviously Zoe hooks up with John in her truck the night before at the bar, following
William. William knows about it.
Oh yeah. It's not.
I don't imagine there's much in this town that
William does not know about.
Yeah, and so that's when he's like, "You slept with his wife," and he's like, "Yeah," and he knows about it. Apparently, he's like, "You've only been here 24 hours.
24 hours, man.
I'm impressed."
I'm just like Anchorman. I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
I'm not even mad. So clearly he knows. We're already getting glimpses of like this guy's going to be, they've prepared us with Sheriff Carey saying you're going to regret meeting him before we've even seen him, and then sort of that bit at the end where he says, nothing like eating off another man's grill, and it's like you can tell that there's some stuff about to go down between our main characters.
Really good writing in this episode.
You
got to hand it to Chris and Lindelof.
I texted you this yesterday. I was rewatching it and had it on subtitles just so I could make sure I wasn't mishearing things.
Sure.
And I realized doing that, there's not a wasted word in this script. Every single line of dialogue in this episode is either building tension or moving the plot forward, or giving you some sort of very useful information for a little bit later to come. I couldn't find a single thing where I was like, well, we didn't need that line or this bit of flourish, or, it is honestly, and I was like, oh, it makes sense. It's Tom King. I've read Supergirl. I've read some of his trades, and it's like, oh yeah, I almost hear the Tom King of it all in the dialogue of this show, because there's just not a wasted word.
And you've also got that Lindelof, Lost. I think about when they did Watchmen several years ago. There's just a one-season HBO thing where they brought Watchmen into present day, that story, and it was phenomenal.
They discussed a little bit of that at the
they did. Yeah, they did bring that up.
It came up in one of the questions where it's like, we've had some background working on Watchmen together. And
that's right. Yeah. That's right. So it makes for very dynamic television. I mean, that opening scene. Because if you watch that opening scene, if you go back and watch it again, talking to you guys through the microphone, through the speakers, if you're watching it again, and I implore you to notice things like the apple basket being by the front door, but also notice when little John is out there by the shed or the garage or whatever, and he's got the apple on his head. That thing is riddled with bullet holes. This is not the first time, apple splatter, this is not the first time this has happened. And the training that he is, I'm so curious about John's dad and his own history and upbringing in his family and his time, in the service, and how that's going to play in everything. I mean, John is the epitome of fearlessness.
Right, and clearly being trained to be fearless so that he would be a good vessel for, replacing Hal if need be.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the whole ball game, right? You can't have any fear because the willpower will not work if you have fear inside of you.
But why at the age of 10 or however old is he being prepared for this? Like what is the angle here is what I'm
I think we're going to learn that, I think, because he's still alive. The dad is still alive in 2016.
Yes.
He makes a phone call.
That's right.
And the dad is like, just grin and bear it. This is his process. He's training you. And so that was a quick little conversation, but that confirms
I thought, I was like, okay, well, maybe John Stewart Sr. knows Hal, but it didn't sound like that from the conversation after they were, scurrying to turn off the television.
There was a quick aside in the very beginning that I caught that was sort of like, it made you see, I can't remember the exact words that was said, but it was something about his dad's work. and like that
and obviously he's in the service,
right? That he works with Hal. There's a little bit. There's not a direct connection there, but one of the kids says it's for Dad's work or something like that.
And something like that, and obviously it's Hal being a pilot. Originally a test pilot, so I'm curious.
Because also it's the kid watching. It's young John watching the news interview with Hal that the other brothers were freaked out about because they knew it was Dad's work related to Dad's work, and Dad was on his way. They were not allowed to know about him, right? Or not allowed to watch this interview. And he said, "Don't watch the interview" or something, and he did it anyway. So there was a bit of like that's setting up that tension was telling us that Dad's involved in some way.
Yeah, it wasn't just you're not supposed to be watching TV while Dad's home.
No,
he walks in and
asks.
He asks about what they were watching, knowing that they were watching it, and maybe it's just been a huge thing that Green Lantern was being interviewed in '96, being one of the first superheroes on Earth. That everybody was watching this. It may just be one of those, that 60-minute exclusive may have been that huge, but John tells Big John that he's a pilot, and that's what then leads them outside to the shooting range. I don't know what else to call it. I was so enthralled in what was happening in those opening moments. I mean, I'm very much about learning what Gunn and Safran are setting up in this universe as far as what's come before. That's why I love that opening Superman thing. For just those little nuggets of information of how these, we know metahumans have been around for so long, but the age of heroes, so to speak, how they factor into the world.
Well, we know that it's been said in interviews that the mystery that we are uncovering on this show is going to have reverberating effects throughout the DCU. It's going to connect up with Superman and Peacemaker, and like it's all connected in some way. And that's what initially drew our attention to this show, other than it just being a live action Green Lantern show for the first time.
And of course, Aaron Pierre, who I also want to talk about for a few minutes here in just a second, but John Stewart will be in the Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow, as Green Lantern. So
as Green Lantern too. So we know by the end of this show that we will have.
They're gonna surf Dracula his suit, but it's gonna, when that suit hits him, that's gonna be a moment. I got a feeling when his suit constructs or however it is. I don't know if he's gonna wear a constructed suit or not. I know Hal's is actually physical, but I'm interested to see what John's going to look like. Hal wore the mask, which I know he's not in the interview, and it may just be because he was doing an interview. But when John Stewart comes along in the 70s, when Neil Adams, I can't remember when he was.
Yeah, did he have? He didn't have. The
mask? Didn't. That was the big thing. He was like, I'm not going to do it like you're doing it. I'm not wearing. The mask, John. So I want to say Aaron Pierre. I've loved him in everything I've ever seen him in. And
I feel like I'm saying this about everyone, but the cast of this show is so good.
So good.
And Aaron Pierre is so perfect for this. I don't know if the Lanterns casting team did it, or if it was overall like DCU casting that was, picking him and because he's definitely.
I think Gunn single-handedly picked him, if I remember. That it was very much a Gunn casting choice. I'm sure everybody else was in on this as well, but his role is going to go beyond that of just this show, so it's important to factor him into everything. I met Aaron Pierre, not actually, but my first interaction watching him was on Krypton on the Sci-Fi Channel back before the pandemic, and he's not a main character on the show. He gets a little bit more weight to him in season 2. He's not a main character in season 1. Every time he was on screen, he stole every scene he was in.
That's what he's doing here.
That's what he's doing here. At least he's one of the two leads. And that show, he was showing everybody up. It didn't matter who he was with. he's a scene with Zod or whoever, he's like chewing up the dialogue in the scene, and he has done it here again. I really enjoyed, and I think Tim was doing a post on either for tonight or tomorrow of if you like Darren Pierre and you haven't seen him in anything else, here's some things to see him in. But if you haven't watched Rebel Ridge on Netflix,
that keeps
that is
coming up,
one.
yeah.
That is one of the just. I'm not going to say it's one of the best movies ever made or anything like that. It's not, but it's just a damn fun. It's
And
one of
he's,
those
like, super good in it too.
He's super good. It's one of those movies you're like, it feels like an 80s movie that was made in 2023 or something. It has that vibe to
Very
it.
specific.
Mm-hmm. And it's good. If you'd put somebody else in that movie, it wouldn't have been as good.
Nice.
And it's the same thing here. If you'd cast somebody else, I just don't know that you wouldn't have that chemistry that he and Kyle are showing. I'm sorry, no pun intended, shines. I mean, it absolutely is at the forefront of every scene they're in. And I'm so glad while we do get that opening scene and we get these little nuggets of information of their two backstories, it doesn't take long to put the two of them together in that car and that taco shop. And it's like we've been watching them all along.
I know. I listed out sort of like each scene the other day, and I was like, there's not a lot of scenes in this in this entire episode. Like it goes pretty quick, and it's because these scenes are so captivating that it feels like as long as it does. But there are very few scenes and locations in this opening pilot of this show. But the acting and the characters and the amount of time we're allowed to kind of sit and get to know them lets everything breathe. And it's just, again, another props to Tom King and the writing and the writers of this show and the screenplay and everything, that we are introduced to this new world of Green Lantern in such a comprehensive way that we can, that after this one episode, I feel like I'm like, oh, I'm good. I think I'm set with a lot of the lore here. Let's get going.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for next week.
There's obviously things I want to know. Not even, I know obviously we're going to meet Sinestro. You'll learn more about that. Who was
he's mentioned in the episode, so we know it's not a spoiler to mention.
Not a spoiler there. He's in the trailers. He's obviously was Hal's mentor who went bad. We'll find out about the Yellow Lanterns and all of that as we move forward. But it's I have questions more about John's life. I have questions about Guy's implications into the greater Green Lantern Corps and how he factors in. I do enjoy. I go back to the question of so much of this space show being set in Nebraska, but we kind of have a reason for it. He can't leave town now. He's been arrested. He has to
in the most earthly way possible.
Yeah, he's being arraigned.
And now cannot leave Rushville because of your bar fight, which 8 counts of assault and resisting arrest or something like that was
$200,000 bail. He technically is a flight risk, but it's
because he can fly.
Because he can fly.
Love that. I love that it's like you're not being kept here in like superhero means, or you're not locking you in a plexiglass prison in a pocket dimension or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like you're here because the legal ramifications to leaving would be dire. So I do like how in this episode with Rushville is almost its own character in the show, and I'm already feeling it. It's when we meet Jason Ritter's character, and he ends up being the husband of the sheriff, of Sheriff Carey, and and that little exchange of like, when he said, "Oh, he's her husband," and Hal is like, "Well, that makes sense. Of course, it's small town.
Small town. Everybody's related.
Everyone.
Yep. Yeah, everybody's related." But the crux of everything, of course, being the mass shooting that has set this off. Once Hal and John have arrived, they've assessed the situation on their own because they're not getting to be part of. They're literally sitting on the sidelines, which I love. Like literally, they're on the sidelines, and
riding the bench is what he said.
Riding the bench, but John clocks Hal clocks all this for what it is. 4 dead. Do you see anybody crying over these bodies? No, everybody's upset. There was a shoot. Like they're
Like
they're
nobody
visibly
knew
shaken,
these
but
victims.
yeah, nobody. You're going to find out that these victims are alien, and then
I love how he immediately like clocks it. Obviously, 40 years of being a Green Lantern, you probably get pretty good about spotting aliens amongst humans, even if they can ingratiate themselves within
like
human culture.
12 races, I think they said that can make
like
themselves
12 or 14, I think, is what he said. That can pass all detection, or at least human created detection, like MRIs and things.
Yeah, and the suspect gives chase. They've clocked him. Even the sheriff has already noticed him, and Hal and John take off after him. Which obviously leads to the bar fight, which leads to Hal being in prison. But it is William, it is Garrett Dillahunt's character who kind of makes the way for him to be able to interrogate.
Yeah, he said
this guy.
Essentially, it's like that was a bit of the, he bailed him out of jail, and he's like, I just want dinner. And the tension of that is like, now you owe me. And even while they're there for dinner, he does him another favor, which is I'm gonna clear the brush of letting you of getting that interview for you. And then he's allowed to do that. So again, it's like going back to the William Macon character. I think he has some ulterior motive. We're not sure what that is yet. He does say, I'm worried about the GD aliens. I'm also worried about aliens coming to my town. But I think there's probably definitely more to that. And we get a little bit at the end of the episode, a little bit of a visual of what's happened in the 10 years since. But again, it's very much like a show like this, a prestige kind of mystery box style show, to just throw out a bunch of stuff for you to ask questions about.
Right.
And we have a lot of questions by the end of this episode.
We do. And then obviously we do that final jump ahead that I'd forgotten about. Again, I got so engrossed in everything and completely forgot that we were supposed to be factoring into 2 different timelines here. So we do jump ahead to 2026, and we see John driving in the night in the snow, making his way back to Rushville 10 years later.
That ranch is gone.
Uh-huh.
On that little quick drive. They make a quick drive-by of the ranch, and that gate that they go through in the episode is very much it doesn't just look dilapidated, it looks destroyed.
It got blowed. It got blowed up, I do believe. So I'm interested in that. Obviously, what happens there. He meets up with Sheriff Carey again. They share a nice hug. So it's whatever ends up happening with them, at least they end on good terms. Interesting,
just their dynamic at the end of the episode versus 10 years prior. There was a warm welcome, and they maybe hadn't seen each other since then, but it didn't end on bad terms. And he even asked about
Noah. The boy, that he was helping throw the football.
Taught him how to throw a football. Now he's all state quarterback for the team. Which is a great little throwback.
And then we get the switch happens. Who knows? Does anybody know? Only the caretaker. And they go back into the stadium where everything started for us, and we find Hal Jordan frozen in the stands, dead, without his ring. And that is the dark moment we end on.
Yeah, and then obviously it's like a whodunit moment, and like what has happened? Why here again? This town is very significant to Hal Jordan and his origin, and now, unfortunately, his ending,
his demise. Yeah,
his demise. And the main question I have in this sort of flash forward to the future is: John a Green Lantern at this point? Does he have a ring?
I think not, since he was driving. I was going to be like, I guess not.
Maybe
he's driving.
And
then, of course, the first thing he does when he finds Hal's body is to go for the ring.
Well,
Even in death, he can't become the Green Lantern.
Right. It's like, we're missing a ring. Now I can't have the ring. But that I do think you make a good point with the driving, but also when he goes to look for the ring, they don't show us the back of his hand.
No.
We don't see if he has a ring on. They're very careful not to show us the back of his right hand. And so I don't know if he is a lantern, because you can have more than one lantern on Earth at the same time. It's not,
obviously we
in
know
this
that with
world,
Guy.
we're not sure if that's true, especially, we know it's not true in the earlier part, but by the time we get to 2026, is he? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, yes, that he's not, and that we now have the Earth's only Green Lantern is dead and the ring is missing. That's what I think. I think that's what we're hinting at.
Well, we still got Guy, and from what we've seen, I don't think this is a spoiler because it's in the trailers. What we've seen moving forward is, I don't think Guy is what replaces Hal, because if it's 2026, we know Superman takes place in 2025, and Guy was already. But I'm pretty sure in the trailer we do see Guy talking to Hal and not John. So that would mean that the Guy's been, and Guy's in uniform. So that would mean we have
multiple Green Lanterns on Earth at the same time.
So I'm interested to see.
But maybe he didn't know about him at first, and I thought this was all very corporate, and there was a hierarchy. The Guardians not to choose. I don't know all of it, but
I don't know if Hal is visiting. There's a prison scene, is all I know. And either Guy is in jail or is visiting somebody in jail. Looks like in Rushville.
Interesting.
He's on one side of the bars. I don't know which, and he does have a line, and I don't know who he's talking to. I think it's Hal, but he does have a line that says, "They're coming to put you down."
Okay.
So
I did see the trailer, but I didn't rewatch it a bunch because I kind of do want to see things fresh. But I do remember that now.
That's one thing. I was talking to our friend Kevin Black. They dropped the first 5 minutes of this the other day.
They did, yeah.
Which
is big when by then, but
which is big when you believe in something like that and you want to drum up that kind of. I mean, that's a huge 5 minutes to drop.
I know there's a lot that goes on in that first 5 minutes that I think it is, very intentional to be like, here, there's a lot of stuff here, and you can see that we're not messing around. This show gets started very quickly.
I'm not a huge fan of that. Like, I love that they believe enough in it to do it. I'm not a huge fan of doing that because linearly to me, I want to sit and watch the whole thing. I don't want to just I don't want to watch that.
Now I don't want to watch 5 minutes.
I don't want to watch 5 minutes and then have to wait till Sunday.
Exactly. That came out. That was what, Thursday that they released?
Thursday. I think it was the day you were at the press conference.
Yeah, it was Thursday they put it out, and it's like, man, I'm glad that I've already seen this because I would be upset if I haven't and only saw the first 5 minutes.
I gave it 4.5 out of 5. I think it was a strong start. It's going to be a slow burn of a series, and that is what it is. That's what these mystery boxes are. That's what whodunits are. It's going to take the 8 weeks to show us the full deck of cards. The show has already been renewed for season 2.
That's always a good sign.
Always a good sign. Like I said, obviously Aaron's coming back as John for Man of Tomorrow, the Superman sequel. So we're not we're going to get these characters around for a while. I understand a lot of people are probably going to be upset about the Hal thing. I do want you to remember though that the majority of the show is going to take place in 2016. We're going to jump around a good bit, but we're going to get plenty of Hal.
I feel like there is going to be a reaction to the end of this episode, but I also think that there is this conception of people watching TV these days that when there's a time jump that there's no going back.
Right. That we're now in 2026.
That we're now in 20. But I don't. Because I agree with you. I don't think that's how this show is.
I say it's going to be. Obviously, at the time you're listening to this, the episode is out now. But it is a big WTF moment, and it's going to hit. I mean, Hal Jordan is a beloved DC character, so to find out in the first 54 minutes of his first showing in the DCU that he's already deceased is a lot. But there's 10 years there I'm not that they can pull from. Whether or not season 2, I mean, is also something that takes place in the past. I mean, there's plenty you can do with that. So while he is gone in the present day, and that does affect things like Man of Tomorrow, it doesn't necessarily affect this show, and we are going to see a lot more of Kyle and Hal. You don't bring in somebody like Kyle and then kill him off in the first episode and not see him again.
Right. He's very much in the rest of this season. Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell the trailer. There's plenty more to come.
I know we're jumping around a bit, but I don't want to end this discussion without us at least talking about that interrogation scene. That
we got to. That is kind of
by far my favorite scene of this episode, and probably one of my favorite scenes of television in a while. It was just really, really well done. And again, not a single wasted word, even when we're talking about Harry Potter. And
they made like 20 of those movies,
right? And it's like, oh, hang my hat. What a delightful human phrase that is. But again, it's like I could watch that scene. I've seen the episode now twice, but I could watch that scene like 5 more times and still be catching little bits of information that they're sending to us. I feel like that's
so convinced this is an alien. Like nobody else is.
Nobody else is. He's convinced. And then like as he's interrogating this truck driver who he thinks is an alien, you've got Sheriff Carey on the other side of the two-way glass and John. They have a little discussion about where he can't hear them, about how Hal isn't fearless, he's lonely. And, it's so we're getting so much character development of Hal about him in a room that he's not in.
There's there's a mentality there of what I took from that of lonely is there's fearlessness can be seen in different ways.
Yeah.
And loneliness, when you have nothing left to lose, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Right. So which is hinted at in the 60 Minutes interview at the very beginning of the episode. So pretty much everything about Hal's character comes together in this interrogation scene. And then not only do we get to see just sort of that sort of character development, but also him being right about the alien, interrogating him in such a way that
you are an alien.
Yeah. What does he say? He says, "Oh, well, you as a Rushville, as a citizen of Nebraska, your only opinion of Barack Obama is that he's the president."
Hussein Obama is that he was president. There's some misunderstanding with his birth certificate.
He's like, "Holy shit, you are an alien." And then that's also when the sheriff is like, she's convinced at that moment, and when the sort of facade drops on
the gloves come off, and
when he says, let's say I am an alien, and then his vernacular just totally becomes like of a different level.
The simpleton thing drops.
Exactly. It's like you let's say that I was going to one of these silly football games while the atmosphere deteriorates or something like that. And it's like, okay, he's an alien, we get it now. And so it's the mask is off. This scene just went from True Detective to X-Files really quickly, and and then we get to see Hal Jordan saving not only himself but like the whole town.
Yeah,
with the ring,
because man, that thing goes off.
Yeah, you beeping? Again, this scene, just the amount of work this one scene does to get me on board for the rest of this show is it's incredible. It's shot incredibly well. That moment of when he's got the alien up against the two-way glass, and you see the reflection of Sheriff Carey and her reaction as the bomb is about to explode. Again, fantastic. I was absolutely just floored by that, and that scene being sort of the penultimate scene of the show, or of this episode of the show, was phenomenal. And so everything that comes after that, I'm just like, I'm just very much.
I'm in.
Please show me more.
I know. I so wish they had dropped episode 2 tonight too, so we could go.
We're excited to see the trailer at least tonight, and
that's
then,
right.
And then keep going on from there.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm just super excited not only to have a show like this that we can discuss each week, and not only that, but be about Green Lantern, which is a character that I'm familiar with, but not as steeped in the lore of. So again, I asked for what should be my first like trade of Green Lantern that I should read. So like hit me up, and I want to read. I want to be like, I'm a student of this character.
Right.
I'm already a student of this character, but
I'm going to say Green Lantern Rebirth, which is written by Jeff Johns, seems to be a go-to for a lot of people, and it's really good. I've told Tim did this wonderful. We've been talking about now this wonderful post about Smallville's Lantern, and surprisingly, that story has a ton of Green Lantern lore in it.
Good.
About Hal, and
so I should just watch some Smallville again, which I'll.
Well, yeah, it's season 11, so it's the comic, but it's it's not an actual episode. But it has a ton of, now it goes way past what we're into here, and kind of how I don't want to spoil things for you, but it's going to be interesting for you.
I do think that what I already like about this show is that we're not hitting you over the head with all the lore, but the way that they explain the lore in this show was very grounded, like very believable, very like, oh, of course, that's exactly how this would go down in 2016, or for us to have known aliens existed for 40 years, that we are, Sector 2814, and there's tons of other planets and intelligent life, and it's like, what would society look like? And it's like, in 2016 things are still fairly the same as what we all lived through back then. Right. And yeah, but it feels so grounded and feels so believable, even though we've introduced superheroes into this reality, into this universe. Space cops.
Yeah. Well, and I love it's such a different too. Like it's this, down the street, not really down the street, but in Delaware, we've got Metropolis, we've got Superman, we've got all these other things that are going on.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Like the same time, yeah.
Right.
Or around
it's around the same time. So it's fascinating to me to have such a different, not only a different take on these characters, but a different take on the DC going on at the same time. I don't know if you know, there's a movie coming out in December, Clayface, which is a Batman villain. It's very horror, and it's totally another different take on genre that's going to be within the same universe. So I'm excited for what's to come, and we're going to be here with you for the next 8 weeks covering the show. So we hope you tune in. We'll have some special guests and friends along the way. Longtime listeners of both House of L and 10th Wonder will be excited. I know Tucker's going to come on at some point, so it'll be the three of us.
Now that will be a moment.
That will be a moment.
And I don't think Tucker, you and I have been on a show at the same time.
Just the three of us. No, just the three of us. I know we've done something with Houston and a few other people, but not.
Yeah, we did the huge 25-year anniversary, but an actual show. It's been since 2006, probably.
Yeah, actually,
since the beginning of this show.
Going through, I know. I feel like I need to get the AAC fired up. We need to.
I'm so glad I'm not editing this.
Can I just say that? The roles have reversed now.
The roles have reversed. I let after 2006, I let Derek just keep doing this while I went into semi podcast retirement, not semi actual. But I'm glad to be coming out of retirement to talk about this.
I pulled you out like a grizzled space cop. So check us out, of course,
the same thing.
Online. Not full retirement, because I've got to plug superhouseofl.com, which is my favorite iteration of the website we've ever had, and that is all because of you, sir. Oh. It looks incredible.
It was fun to put that together after all these years, and it's been fun to kind of tweak it around. And we've got a little bit of an Easter egg for our Lanterns episodes when they come out on the.
I don't even know what that is. So
well, you'll see. Our listeners will know by then. But
so check us out online, superhouseofl.com, where you can find us wherever you want to find us on the internet, on all social media. We're at superhouseofl. Thank you, Tim, for running those accounts and doing a fabulous job. And of course, you can email us if you want to, mail@superhouseofl.com. We'll be back next week with another episode, and of course, still going on are our Smallville 25 episodes, and as we're leading up to the 25th anniversary of the show in October. So we've got plenty of content coming down the pipeline, and we appreciate you being here for all of it. Graham,
Derek.
I'm excited about the show, but I'm excited about this show. Like, I love that you and I are doing this together. So.
I am too. This is going to be fun. I cannot wait to keep doing this. This is the first time I've had to do like a weekly podcast in, again, like 20 years. So
yeah,
I'm excited to do it. Knocking off a little bit of the dust and rustiness off of this equipment, but yeah,
it's fine.
It's all coming back.
It's like old.
It's like riding a bike.
Yeah, it's like going back to Rushville all over again. All right, we will see you guys next time on the House of L. Thanks for joining us.